Hey, this is Giancarlo. We're going to take a look at some more classic NES games, some that are good and some that are just so completely horrible that they make me cry. First game that we're looking at right now is Faxanadu, which I don't really know why I got into this game or why I was excited about it. I remember seeing some screenshots in Nintendo Power and reading like a spread of it, and it just seemed really cool at the time, so I got all excited about it and went out and bought it and did all that cool stuff. When I started playing, I was like, wow, you know, this is kind of cool. It's got like sort of the traditional, you know, action elements in there along with the cool little RPG elements so that you get different weapons and armor and things like that. You even had magic. And the game really had some strange and bizarre enemies, which you just saw a second ago, and you can talk to this crazy guy behind the brick wall there, so you can buy armor and stuff, you can buy different weapons. Of course, naturally, the only things you can buy at the very beginning of the game are really horrible. The dagger, which, you know, was really weak, and the deluge, that is one of the first magic abilities that you get. It just basically fires a small fireball at enemies on the screen. And one thing that's really weird about Faxanadu is that it's almost an ad for smoking, or it's as if Marlboro or whoever decided to take some ad space out on this game, because there's quite a few characters in it that like to smoke. I don't know what message they're trying to send there, but people in Faxanadu like to smoke. Smoking's bad for you, so don't do it, kids. Oh, and there's one of the cool, like, enemies, one of the first enemies you see in the game. Likes to hop around, has one eyeball. He's probably just really angry that he has one eyeball, which is why he's hopping around. And it had, like, this whole element, too, where you needed to get, like, specific keys in order to move on, but from what I remember, it wasn't too bad. You know, you'd be able to find the keys along the way. But here you can see, like, all the, like, weird platforming elements that they put into the game, like ladders and stuff, and gotta wonder why some of these enemies are just carrying bread on them. I mean, sometimes I just carry bread on me when I'm walking down the street, but why would a little spike thing be carrying bread? It just doesn't make any sense, I tell you. You know, you got this crazy goat on speed. He's all crazy, he's jumping around, jumps around real high. Oh, see, even more bread. I just don't get that at all. I mean, bread's good and everything, but why do these enemies have it? Yeah. So Faxanadu is just one of those really strange games that, you know, it wasn't like a hugely anticipated game or whatever, but for some reason it seems to be one of those games that, you know, people that know it say, you know what, that was a really cool game. So the next game we're going to look at is Fester's Quest, which is kind of a weird game because, you know, you think has the Addams Family license or whatever. You know, licensed games even back then weren't exactly the best of games, but for some reason this one turned out really well, and I think it's because for the most part that they didn't really try to make it have anything really to do with the Addams Family other than the characters. I mean, obviously here you see Fester with this really crazy whacked out gun. I mean, why is Fester carrying around this gun to begin with? It's just one of those weird things, but this is from Sunsoft, who made a lot of really good NES games, so it wasn't too surprising this one turned out, you know, to be a good, fun little game. One of the cool things about it almost had this Zelda-like feel because you could see like certain areas and stuff on the map, but you knew you couldn't get there until you got like a certain type of item or you had to get a certain kind of weapon. Also, there's just some really weird stuff in the game. I mean, right down there you see a hot dog stand. I mean, why is there a hot dog stand there? And it just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But obviously, you know, you spent a lot of time just shooting stuff at all kinds of really weird enemies in this game. Some pretty good exploration elements, like, you know, you see the stairs down there, you know, eventually you'll get there, but you can't get there now. There's these different houses around the environment, and you go in, you meet different members of the Addams Family, and they'll give you like different items. I think Pugsley basically gives you like TNT or something like that. But again, it's just one of those games that, you know, you talk to people about, and they, you know, they know it, and you know it. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just talking gibberish right now. But yeah, Addams Family, woo! So now we're going to look at possibly one of the worst games ever made. A little story behind this one. This was probably the first game that I bought. I mean, obviously I was like 8 or 7 or something, so I wasn't too bright back then. I'm still not too bright, but it was one of the first games that I bought based on screenshots on the back of the box. I thought, you know what, this game looks kind of cool on the back of the box, so I'm going to buy it. So I bought it, and I took it home, and I played it, and it turned out to be the biggest piece of garbage I've ever played in my life. The game just makes no sense. It's not fun to play at all. You got to play as this guy wearing blue pajamas and horn hat, and enemies are just stupid. Fight giant blue blobs, you die really easily, and the whole point of it was you're supposed to go retrieve these bells or whatever and then go throw them in a fire. But usually you got so sick of the game before even getting to the first bell that it was pretty pointless. Look at this incredibly inventive enemy design, blue blobs and like blue slinkies. Yeah, that took a whole lot of effort to come up with those, I'm sure. And you got these bats flying around, what their problem is. I'm trying to think if there's any redeeming qualities about this game at all, and just there really aren't. This is the kind of game that makes you want to hit yourself. I know I hit myself for actually buying it. The thing was, I held on to it just because I knew how incredibly bad it was, so if I wanted to go back and revisit how bad games can be and make myself feel better about certain other games, and I'd always play Deadly Towers. I mean, are you fighting water puddles? What? I don't know what's going on. And look at that lovely animation, the sword just kind of flying out there. I mean, even Zelda, where it's just basically Link was like, what, like 5 or 6 sprites big, and this guy is like huge and he has no animation at all. He just kind of stands there and his sword magically appears out of his stomach and goes flying into one of those blue blobs. And I wish I had that ability to throw swords out of my stomach. That'd be really cool. And this enemy's real tough because he spins around in a circle. Of course, you know, would be tough if I couldn't shoot him all the way from across the room, but whatever. Oh, look at that snake. Watch out for the snake. Snake is deadly. Oh god, bats. Really horrible bats. Oh, I died. I didn't really know what to think about Trojan when I first played it. It was actually one of those games that one of my other family members decided to buy for whatever reason. I knew it had been in the arcade before, but I wasn't really a fan of it then. There are some really cool elements to the game, and the fact that you can block enemy projectiles is obviously really cool, and that some projectiles can actually knock your armor and stuff off. It's, you know, something that wasn't really done all that much back then. You can get the rad sock that would just let you jump really high. And you got these crazy enemies that live in the sewers that like to throw ninja stars at your face. This is a really hard game. I mean, you know, after you got to about the 3rd level or so, it just became almost impossible. But it's cool. I mean, you could like put your shield in different directions. You could put it above your head so enemies flying over would try and bombard you. You could block it and do all that sorts of stuff. I guess the biggest thing that bugged me about it was just the character was kind of hard to move around, especially to make him jump. He was not a very good jumper. Then you got these crazy axe bosses, where you just get them trapped in a corner and wail on them, or get killed.